Okay. Thank you everyone for coming to our this morning's meeting, whether live or virtually. I'll call the meeting to order at 9:30, and I will confirm that all members of council, as well as the municipal clerk, are present for today's meeting. The territorial land acknowledgement, we respectively acknowledge that the township of Allen-Calderman is located on the Mississauga-Neshinimbe territory and is the traditional territory of the Mississauga-Neshinimbe. The township of Allen-Calderman respectfully acknowledges that the Mississauga Nation are the collective stewards and caretakers of these lands and waters in perpetuity, and that they continue to maintain this responsibility to ensure their health and integrity for generations to come. Moving on to approval of the agenda, as recommended, the Council of the Corporation of the Township of Allen-Calderman enact as follows: that the agenda of the regular council meeting held on July 8th, 2025 be approved. Can I get moved and seconder? Moved by Councillor Booth, seconded by Deputy Mayor Stover. Any comments? All in favor? Motion is carried. Disclosure of pecuniary interest or general nature thereof. Seeing none, that will be recorded. Next is approval of the minutes, and we have the minutes of council meeting on June the 10th, as well as the municipal planning / regular council meeting held on June 24th, 2025. Did I get a mover and a seconder? Moved by Deputy Mayor Stover, seconded by Councilor O'Neill. All in favor? Motion is carried. Approval of the committee of the whole meeting minutes of June the 17th. It is recommended the council approve the committee of the whole meeting on June 27th, 2025, and that be approved. I get mover and a second. Deputy Mayor Stover, seconded by Councilor Ainsworth. All in favor? Motion's carried. Any business as a result of those meetings? Deputy Mayor Stover.
It had to do with the position recruitment
Yes.
minutes and what we discussed. And I'm wondering at this time, and help me, Madam Clerk, if I could make a motion that we request some information of the logistics of this position recruitment board as we see that it's being dissolved. What money is there and what is the state there and when do they expect it to be completely dissolved?
Okay. Are you making a motion to that?
Yes.
To that? Can we do that? Yes, yes, but we're business that. Okay. The clerk advises me that we've already got this scheduled in the agenda for 12:01.
Okay,
It'd be better to talk about it at 12.
okay, thank you, and I will retract that. Good, thank you.
Any other business from arising? Seeing none, we'll move on to committee of the whole meeting minutes of June 17, 2025. And there are 7 recommendations coming from the committee of the whole to council. All members have had an opportunity and have expressed their thoughts. And just to keep the meeting moving, rather than going into each one individually, unless you want to pull one, we will take all 7 and approve them. So I'll be reading the recommendation that we accept recommendation 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. And if anybody wants to pull one and specifically, then we'll pull that and talk about it. Deputy Mayor.
Mayor Lobo, I would request, and I apologize, because the library programming and facility rental terms involve financial, that I'll be declaring a conflict of interest. And I would request that that particular one be removed and dealt with separately. Thank you.
Which one, which number is that?
That would be recommendation one.
One, okay. Any other comments? Mary Catherine?
Just on recommendation 7, we didn't say anything about funding of those, and I'm just wondering if that needs to be added.
This was number 7. Can you repeat that again?
We didn't include anything about the funding of those first 2 goals, and I'm wondering if we need to be specific about where the funding would come from for the staff council event and the council team event.
Well, we can talk to Aaron, I guess, about that. I think that would be the best thing to do. Okay. Okay. Thank you. So I'm going to make the recommendation that we approve numbers 2 to 6, and then we'll talk about number 1 and number 7 separately. So so I need a mover and a second to accept recommendations 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And then we'll talk about 1 and 7 after that. So can I get a mover and a second? Moved by Councillor Booth, seconded by Councillor Ainsworth. Further discussion? All in favor? Motion's carried. We'll go back to number 1, which is the rental fees for the 2025 be waived for library programming, and that facility rental terms be included in the memorandum of understanding between the Township of Haldimand and the Public Library Board. Can I get a mover in a second? Moved by Councillor Booth, seconded by Councillor O'Neill. Any discussion? Further discussion? All in favor? That's carried. Moving on to items. Did you get that? Councillor Booth, moved by Councillor Booth, seconded by Councillor O'Neill. And that was carried. And recommendation number 7, that council establish the following goals related to high performance team workshop report. Plan on all staff council team building event plan and all council team meeting event, and move forward with honesty, integrity, trust, and respect. Councillor O'Neill.
I'd like to bring an amendment to that to say that this will be funded, and I appreciate hearing from other members of the council if we're going to put any limit on how much we are going to allot for each of those events. I think they both fall broadly within the budget that's been approved, so.
Councillor or Deputy Mayor Stoller. So you want to move your motion?
That they'll be funded from the existing budget as deemed most appropriate by the clerk. I haven't put a number on there, so.
We'll discuss that once we get a second.
Okay. So.
Seconded by Councillor Ainsworth. Okay, I've heard what you're asking for a figure. Anybody else have any comments? Councillor or Deputy Mayor Stoller?
Through your memo, I believe there were budgeted amounts put in for these events. So is this something that would just take care of itself? Because the money has already been budgeted for in there for the events, team building and that sort of thing.
I've spoken with council, pardon me, with Aaron and for the council when we're that's going to be within the budget.
Okay.
And I don't know if you have a comment on this, Chief, or me. Okay. Go ahead, Mayor Godfrey.
I do tend to agree with what our deputy mayor is saying, that so long as these stay within the already allotted budget, just the amendment that says pay them is sufficient.
Everybody okay with that? All in favor? Motion's carried. So that's 1 through 7 done. We'll move on to.
So I think we just approve the amendment. We probably need to approve the motion.
One more. Yeah,
So three, Mr. Mayor, because it wasn't moved and you essentially moved it with an amendment, we just
Okay.
kind of streamlined.
Like that.
thank you. Okay, we're gonna move on to 9.1, which is the vehicle tender award for a one-ton replacement truck. And Stefan, do you want to come up? Morning. Stefan. Thank you for being here. You want to give us a quick summary of your report? Sure.
Through you, Mr. Mayor. So just a quick summary. This is just the award to replace an existing vehicle. I believe it's currently a 3/4 ton that's reached the end of its service life. So we put this out to tender. We received 2 bids on it. And this is to go through the official award process to take that vehicle out of service and give its replacement.
Thank you, and a good report, well detailed, and I do have a couple questions though. What year is it? Do you know what the year the truck was that you were replacing?
I believe it is a 2017.
Okay, thank you. And is it being sold as is, or how are we getting rid of that?
Yes, so it's currently actually, it was up for receiving bids and we have those bids actually.
Good, thank you. Anybody else have any questions for Stefan? Go ahead, Deputy Mayor.
To your memo, Stefan, I'm just wondering why you're going with diesel.
Through you, Mr. Mayor. So that was the request of the lead hand. I believe what he had expressed was just the added power and I guess the added power that the vehicle will provide. And just because a plow and a sander actually does go on this truck as well, and it is used for parking lots and things like that. So
Thank you.
Any other questions for Stefan? Can I get a mover and a seconder? Moved by Councilor Booth, seconded by Deputy Mayor Stover. Councilor Booth, any comments? No. Deputy Mayor? Anybody else have any questions or comments? All in favor? Motion is carried. Now we're going to move on to the second one that you're presenting today, and this is the line painting tender award. PW 202512 line painting tender award P042025, and that's presented today. Go ahead, Stefan.
Yep, so just a quick through you, Mr. Mayor. So a quick overview. It's just for our annual line painting to take place throughout the township, primarily center lines, so our yellow center lines and other warning markings that we will have on our pavement surfaces. So this is pretty well to get all of the center line painting done throughout the township here.
Thank you. Rick, you may not know, but I don't think we did it last year. We didn't? Yeah. Yeah. And so you think it has to be done every second year or?
Typically with the waterborne paints, or through you, Mr. Mayor, my recommendation would be do them yearly. Just the durability of the waterborne paints, my recommendation, just with, especially with using sanding materials throughout the winter causes the abrasion on the roads, and it just tends for the center lines to be worn away at, a pretty consistent rate. So my recommendation would be yearly, actually.
Okay, well, we put it in the budget, we'll think about it. Anybody else have any questions? Go ahead, Councilor Booth.
Through you, your worship, just to say that I think the option we should be choosing then is number one, which is, we didn't put in enough money, but, let's do everything that they recommended, right? So we'll have to meet the full cost, because I think we put, was it 40,000?
45.
45. And I believe, as part of our meetings we had this year with the Public Works, when we talked about it, is they wanted to skip last year because I know there was a difference. We've had it done twice now. And there was a difference in some of the road markings, like I know in community center roads, some of them are not actually matched up. So they wanted some of the lines to fade and everything. So they'll have it done properly this time, which will be good.
Thank you. Mayor Kaufman?
My question is probably to the treasurer, so I might not get an answer in a moment. Won't we receive some of that HST back from the government when we put in our claim, and so we wouldn't be as much over as what it's reading here?
Can you comment on that, Stefan?
My understanding, and the question would probably be best for the treasurer, but yes, we don't pay the full 13%. So we pay a smaller proportion of that.
CAO, go ahead.
Through you, Mayor Longo, the council, so these prices indicated are all for HST. So the HST is on top, and yes, we get the majority of HST return as a municipality.
Go ahead, Councilor Ainsworth.
Through you, Mayor. I guess option two kind of sticks out at me because I would wonder about staying in the budget. And I don't know if it's possible, or even because I believe I've seen it in different municipalities driving throughout, is do they have to have the solid line continuously? Can it be broke up for, a certain amount of feet and then started again?
Anybody else?
I don't know never.
I'm going to direct your question to Mr. Van.
Yeah.
Get an answer for him. Thank you.
So through you, Mr. Mayor, so just to clarify there, Councilor Ainsworth, are you referring to, this is kind of a slang in the industry, but they'll call it skips. So there'll be a solid center line, and then there will be just sections of yellow line and then there'll be missing portions of line painting in between. Is that what you're referring to?
Actually, no, just leave nothing there. Because I think if you skip it would mean they could pass, right?
That's correct, yes.
Yeah.
So my recommendation through this, and actually with the prior manager, he had expressed I don't want to say importance, but there is an added benefit to having consistent center line throughout the township, especially if collisions were to occur. That center line acts as a delineator for traffic. So if we were to do it on one portion of road, but not another portion of road, there is the possibility it could create difficulties if something were to, like that were to happen.
There is no law that says we have to. We're just doing this for safety and preventing accidents.
So there's the Ontario traffic manuals. This I believe would be under, there is a specific 12 books. And they will, one is through, would be our warning symbols, which this would fall under. Sorry, I'm getting some back there. And typically, through those manuals, they will have outline, or I should say, not recommendations, but a suggestion to have these pavement markings and when their applications are. And if there was some sort of an incident, a collision to occur, these are the books that they would go to and look in and see what what they outline in there. So that's typically, it's more of a, I guess, a kind of a recommendation and a suggestion. And we have manuals that outline how to apply them on the roadways.
And just one more question when I think of it. So that's a solid line. Does that mean anything as far as people driving down the road and passing?
So that would be more, I think, under the Ontario Traffic Manual, I believe, and I don't want to misstate something here, but you can technically pass, I believe, on a yellow center line. Typically, it's white lines that are considered regulatory, and that's where enforcement would be permitted. But once again, it is there as a guidance to drivers, you know, when to pass, and they are using that as a guidance, especially if you come into the community and you're not necessarily familiar with the roadways, that you're using that to guide your decisions.
Actually, I learned that recently at the OPP thing. There's no reason you can't pass on solid line, but if you do get into something, then they really look at why you even pass on solid. Which is kind of speaking two different ways.
Yeah.
Anyways, we're a little bit off subject, but Deputy Mayor?
To you, Mayor Noble. Stefan, as you know, we have our safety zones and the traffic study that was done in the Grafton area, particularly at the school areas and at the top of Station Road. Is this a time where that would start being implemented as well with the line painting being done here?
So I did, through you, Mr. Mayor, so I did include what is called a transverse 10-centimeter white marking on there, which is simply put, that's what you use for your crosswalks. There were some recommendations of a ladder, which is the larger white block followed by an absence of paint, followed by a larger white block. That is not necessarily in this tender because our handwork quantities are so small. I was going to look at possibly some other options to address that for cost. So we would be able to get a crosswalk in there, I believe, but I believe the traffic safety study only mentioned the ladder as well.
Go ahead.
And just one, or if I may, Mayor Lugal, to you, Stefan, are you talking about all our roads? Obviously not gravel, but all hard tops will have this line painting done on it?
So through you, Mr. Mayor, there's a map actually on the back of the tender. And it would outline every single roadway that we are looking to. I don't have that map in front of me, but I could provide that to you and it would give you a very clear picture of what we're looking at.
That'd be helpful. Thank you. Thank you.
Any other further questions for, go ahead, Councilor Booth.
Through your worship, not really a question, just that I know the concern about going over budget, but the 45,000 that we put in last year just went back into it just came back to us. We didn't spend it, right? So
It's there.
that money's there to help out. And when we first had this done a few years ago, I had a lot of actual residents contact me or tell me that they thought it was a great idea because especially in the winter time, that every once in a while you see that yellow marking in the center and you know where you are because a lot of people tend to drive in the center. So I think it's a great idea and I would think that we continue with it and go for option one, which is let's do it all.
Anybody, okay, let's have a motion to approve the report. Made by Councilor Booth, seconded by Deputy Mayor Silver. Any other further questions or comments? Go ahead.
Do we have to say that we're recommending option one then? Because there's three options. So I would, in the motion, say option one.
That's what the staff recommendation was. That was your recommendation.
Okay, so to go with the staff recommendation then.
Anybody else have any thoughts or comments? Oh, go ahead.
I do agree with Councillor Ainsworth. I like to see us staying within budget. And when we go over budget this time, this will be a forward cost for us every year moving forward. So even though there's money sitting there to make it a non-issue for this year, that becomes an ongoing cost to us every single year. So I'm really torn on this one because I do agree. I think it does help, especially because we have such narrow shoulders to keep people squarely on the safe part of the road is an important thing for us. Are there any roads that you would be considering removing and that? You know, like, what's the criteria? Said there's a map, but what's those criteria to decide traffic level, what are those things, I guess?
So through you, Mr. Mayor, I haven't selected specific roads yet, but the criteria that I would use would just be to sit down with our staff. Likely it would be lower volume roads that would be, or lower volume roads that would be the ones that wouldn't get it. Approximately, it would be about 21 kilometers of road that wouldn't receive the yellow line. So it's quite substantial at a total of 173 kilometers. So, and being as it is a safety, somewhat of a safety device, my recommendation was, as I said, to go with the award the full amount.
Thank you. Councilor Ingram.
Through you, Mayor. So when you go through this stuff, and would you be able to tell if some roads don't need it? You kind of take that out of the cost? Like it's because there's already yellow lines there, they're still fairly visible.
So through you, Mr. Mayor, that is a possibility. I would say with the 2 years of not doing the line painting, there is actually a reflectivity that comes with them. So there is glass beads that are actually laid over top of them, and those wear out quite quickly. So you may notice this when you're driving along on the highways at nighttime. There's a bit of a pop on new line painting that you'll see when your headlights hit it. And when you go past, a year, especially 2 years, that's all gone. So that would just be another reason I would recommend to do the entire road network throughout the township, or the ones identified on the map.
You got it.
I think between the two of you, you've just answered my conflict in my head. If we go ahead and do everything this year, but pay close attention to which roads the lines are good enough next year, bring it and do those 21 less kilometers next year, we'll bring it back within budget. But for right now, because it has been the 2 years, to go ahead on that, and then that way moving forward, we balance the two. I think we can do that.
I'm going to approve based on the information we got now, but I do agree with Councilor O'Neill that we should look at it and determine good ones versus bad ones, because they will change depending on the light and everything else. And the other thing, maybe we gotta say under 30 cars per every 24 hours, we don't bother with it. Something along that line, and look at that criteria for next year.
Harold,
Yes, go ahead.
if I may, and it's basically a comment, is that we're talking about safety here on the roads. And there could be other areas where we could maybe tighten up the belt loop a little bit, but I would be very concerned if we started messing around with the safety of people on the road and not doing painting. We have Stefan here who has brought this together, so I mean, I completely agree with what his recommendation is. And as with all departments, they are all very cost efficient whenever they're bringing a report together. So just a little concern. I'm not prepared to, because I don't know the logistics. I don't know all the specs on what road should be painted, because I don't have the qualifications that Stefan has. Maybe if I was a little younger, I would go into your line of work, but I don't see that happening. Just a comment. Thank you.
Councilor Booth.
Through your worship, I agree with what the deputy mayor saying. If we look at the overall thing, we're talking about it's roughly $6,000. That's because we went with the price. We went with a budget price of was 2 years ago. Things have gone up. So next year, for next year's budget, if Stefan is a wise man, and I'm sure he is, then he'll probably put in a budget request that will be closer to what the real price is. And I agree with what the deputy mayor is saying. For an extra $6,000 to make sure that we're doing it properly, then there is the possibility, because if you're doing it every year, that there are some years you might be able to save some, not doing some roads, but it wouldn't be this time because we haven't done it in 2 years. Thank you.
Further comments? All in favor of the motion? That's carried. Thank you. Did you vote? No.
Oh, I already had my hand up.
Why didn't you catch it?
You're very trapped.
Okay, next we have the update. Thank you, Stefan. Next, we have the update on the 2025 fees and charges schedule. Report FN 2025-06, updated 2025 fee and charges schedule. And Jeremy, do you want to come forward? Morning, Jeremy. Do you have any updates or anything on your report, so everybody had a chance to read it? Any questions for Jeremy?
Just working merit, so I don't, not to speak to it, but I'll take,
Pardon me?
I'll take questions on, the Parks and Rec stuff, but the report was put in by Aaron, so.
Yeah.
I can't speak to it.
Okay. Anybody have any questions or comments? No, or not comments? Do you have any questions for?
Yes, through you, your worship. I'm just looking at this and I would like for us to defer this, and I'll tell you why. This report that's coming through from Aaron, in the past with us and other municipalities, in fact, I just saw Hamilton's or I saw Grammy's, one of them. Usually when they do changes in fees and things like that, they give us in the report to say what 2024 was and what we intend to do for 2025. And if you look at the actual bylaw we're going to vote on later for this, there's 52 different prices for things. And I would prefer for Jeremy to come back or Aaron to come back with us, that a chart that shows what 2024 is and what the changes are, whether prices are going up, whether they're going down, or more importantly, if they're removing anything from the fees and schedule. So I'll let everybody make a comment, but then at the end, I'd like to respectfully request that we defer it until we can, as a council, see exactly what we're voting on. Thank you.
Deputy Mayor.
To you, Mayor Lobo, to Jeremy, are you aware of any increases here in these lines?
Through you, Mr. Mayor, there are a couple of increases. The majority of the changes was really just housekeeping. The fee schedule from last year had 67 different charges on it. A lot of those were either just carryover items from budget years past that we've never charged or haven't charged for years or are no longer applicable. We also streamlined and cleaned up how the charges work. So for baseball diamonds, for example, going to a per hour fee for diamond use to mirror how the ice is booked and all of the other spaces in the township, as well as baseball diamonds in neighboring municipalities are booked. The small increases that have happened are for the community center uses in the facilities that have kitchen spaces. The previous practice was to piecemeal out all of the individual facilities. For example, this one, there's a fee for the kitchen and a fee for the hall. That becomes extremely cumbersome and labor intensive for not only the staff booking, but the user itself. A lot of confusion through the contracting process. So what we did was get rid of the piecemeal approach and make a very small, modest increase for the use of the facility. Having the kitchen and the hall as a standalone doesn't make a lot of sense. You can't book them independently from each other.
Thank you.
Yeah, go ahead. Councilor O'Neill.
Actually, I want to commend that as a much better and clearer step. It is something that I've heard frustration about. A couple of other things from, and I do, by the way, want to concur with Councillor Brooks that I would really appreciate the comparisons coming forward to help guide my decision making as a councillor. So if that could just be the practice, that would be good.
We didn't cut in big.
But
so-
anyway, I do have two other questions that are related specifically to you and your position. Many other municipalities have a separate rate when alcohol is involved, if it's an event involving alcohol, and I know that's something something I would like to see, because often there's much higher cleaning costs involved with alcohol related events. But it's also a liability issue for us in a way that, you know, 80th birthday party usually is at the same level of liability. So that would be one. And the second item that I'm not seeing on here, and I know that it was priced too high, so nobody did it, but in all of our facilities in here, we have a great speaker system. And yet it's never, or very, very, very rarely used. And wondering about where we are with the speaker system, whether or not it is an option for people to book use of the speaker system. And I know that program coordinator leaders would like to be able to access that for things like their yoga programs or Tai Chi or Zumba, those types of things. So
Go ahead, Jeremy.
Through you, Mr. Mayor, for the first one, there was a higher rental rate for events that were gonna get a special occasion permit through the AGCO, only for the arena. With our booking process, we have cleaned up a lot of the requirement for facility users to provide certificate of insurance, especially for events where there's a special occasion permit. So that negates a lot of the liability that you're referring to that would be on the township. There could be modest decrease in cleaning costs for a licensed event. But the same could be said of a children's birthday party. We've had a number of children's birthday parties in this room specifically where there's confetti and balloons and stuff that are probably take the lion's share of the cleaning costs. The sound system rental is reflected towards the back of the charges list. Currently, our process is we have a couple of different portable units that get booked ahead of time and get taken around. You and I actually were in contact with somebody at the Rose Needs Center a few months ago when they were using it. The permanent one that's installed on the wall behind me currently doesn't function, so this is our fail-safe way of making sure that every hall can have, or every renter can have access in each hall to a sound system.
Any other questions from? Or, Jeremy? Go ahead, Councillor Agent.
Through you, Mayor DeJar. So I guess I do agree with the 24 and 25 schedule fees being the same. But I wonder what the calculation is for these numbers. And so for instance, does each dollar value cover, like, you know, say no matter hydro, the wages, benefits, all that kind of stuff that's going in with all that? Or is it just kind of over the top of our head that we just put those numbers on there?
Through you, Mr. Mayor, I think you're speaking more about ice and baseball. Fees.
Yeah, just those numbers in general. So like, you know, the arena floor and a special event, $300 for the day or for 4 hours.
So,
Just
I'll make a quick comment.
sure.
We're not trying to make money on it. So it's really hard to say what's it worth. But we are, I believe we're trying to be competitive with our neighboring facilities.
That's,
But you go ahead and tell me.
no, you're exactly right, Mr. Mayor. Certainly arenas and community centers for that matter are never going to be revenue generators. They're always going to be at a cost. We want to reduce that cost as much as possible. The fees that are reflected here are certainly competitive with neighboring townships. The arena and a lot of our facilities work in unison with all of the facilities across the county. So our user fees and charges reflect that and position us in a place, I believe, to continue the growth that we saw over the last 12 months in all of these facilities.
Okay, that finished. Okay, need a motion to approve the report or if there's a, or should be heard, whichever means, that's what. Go ahead, Councilor.
Through your worship, I'd like to make a motion at this time that the report be deferred until the report can come back to us with the 2024 changes. The changes from 2024, which I believe is about 9 things that have been taken off from the last time, if I'm correct.
It's really, correct me if I'm wrong, you're really asking what was in 2024 or pardon me, 2025, that list and then compare that to the.
Yeah, usually in past reports, it's shown, if, what you were saying, if there was 67, it would show 67 different fees in 2024. And now we're going down to 52 or whatever, and it would show what's intended. And then the changes are highlighted, so we know as council what exactly we're voting on. So just to defer it until that can come back to us, hopefully.
Can I get a second for that? Second by Councilor Ainsworth. I'll make a comment. That's what the county does. They give you exactly what was any changes, fees and services by law from one time to the next. So you can actually. Anybody have any further comments? All in favor, defer. Motion's carried. While we're at it, and because it just seems appropriate to fulfill on this comment, when I went by Centerton last Saturday afternoon, there was quite a bit going on. As far as rental, I don't know what it was. And when I went to Fenella, I seen the same thing. And I'm sure if I would have went to Roseneath, I don't know what I would have saw there, but I was expecting there was cars there because even the library would have people there. So, which is good to see, Jeremy. So I'm happy to see that you're making use of the facilities. Okay. Next is Northumberland County Physician Recruitment. And I don't think you need to comment on that, Jeremy. So it is CLK 2025-13 Northumberland County Physician Recruitment. It is recommended the council of the Corporation of Township of Elmwood act as follows. The council received report CLK 2025-13 Northumberland County Physician Recruitment for information, and that the mayor, deputy mayor, or councillor be nominated as the Township of Elmwood representative for the Northumberland County Physician Recruitment. Or that the staff begin recruitment for a community member to be nominated as the Township of Elmwood representative for the Northumberland County Physician Recruitment Advisory Committee. Can I get a mover and second to put it on the floor? Moved by. You're gonna address that, Ms. O'Neill,
All right,
please go ahead.
so I move option number 1, and then we appoint Councillor Greg Bruce.
Can I get a seconder? Also, I can second. No, I can't stand to. Second.
I can second that if it's an issue, just get it on the floor.
Oh, okay. Different time. So it's been seconded by Councilor Ainsworth. Comments? Well, first of all, I should conduct a question to Councilor Booth. Are you interested in representing this?
Sure, after the discussion, if we go that way, I'd stand for it, but I have a bunch of questions, as I'm sure everybody else does.
Okay. Go ahead, Councilor O'Neill, you're the person.
Okay, so I have been a representative, and it has been an interesting committee to sit on with the physician recruitment. Obviously, we've ended up with a natural break here, which wasn't anticipated that we would move from being 4 different recruiting agencies in Northumberland County to be 1. And this ties into your question earlier, Deputy Mayor Stover. We will have to wrap up the previous board. And that's a sort of a two-part process as I understand it, and it is a little bit of a dance, but our board to confirm that, yes, this is the direction that we want to move. And then in turn, each of our councils will need to bring forward a motion saying that's what we want as well, because we're the signatories to the contract. So we're the ones that can essentially end it. The board can't end it on their own. So I will maintain that role until that process is done. And then seeing as it was a natural break, I'm quite happy to step back from that and have someone else move forward. I do nominate Greg because he's been someone who constantly asked me questions all the way along and kept himself very apprised of this. I suspect his wife's background in healthcare might have been a reason why he was interested in this file, but he has been someone who's asked questions all the way along.
Thank you. Deputy Mayor.
Through you, Ariel, to Councillor Neil. When is the wrap up going to be? What is your final date?
I have as soon as I know that, I'll pass that information on to you, but we are still sort of awaiting a date for that, but it will be within this calendar year for sure. But it's a whole process involving 5 municipalities and the board, so it will take some time.
Do you have a follow-up?
Yeah, so then I guess at this time, appropriate mayoral with Madam Clerk's assistance, that we author a letter. I'd like to make a motion that we author a letter to the appropriate people in charge, whether it be the board or I understand the town of Coburg is, are they kind of looking at the logistics of this board? Is that the proper avenue that we should go?
You want to comment? You kind of involved, aren't you?
Yes and no.
Sure.
Yeah, from the midlines. So that is, yes, so Cobra does provide the procedural and administrative and financial support. But you do have a motion on the floor discussing Councillor Wu's nomination. So I would say right now that would be germane to the conversation on the floor, but certainly germane to the topic as a whole. But I would say deal with the business first.
Finally, that, if I may, is that if we go with option, or if we go with the first one where we put a counselor there, or like what one are we talking about? Are we ready to do that now after, or should we have our discussion first?
Okay. But this is on the floor. Go ahead, Councilor.
Oh, perhaps I can help you a little bit with that. So it is my intention to bring forward a motion or a notice of motion regarding the designation of the board. So I'd be happy to work with you on that once we're ready to bring that forward. I did check with our clerk and she said we're not quite ready yet, but that will definitely be the process that we will follow. So we will get there. The other is starting immediately, so they're going to start their work now, and we need to have someone at the table when they're starting their work as a new county-wide recruitment plan.
Okay, let's vote on the motion. Or pardon me, that's before we do that, and a couple other people want to comment, but let's go strictly dealing with the motion to have council member on there. And then if there's anything else we want to talk about, there's Deputy Mayor, we can bring that up a bit.
Thank you.
Councilor Ainsworth.
You, Mayor, just a comment that I wonder if we should just kind of defer this motion until we go through the whole process with this. Because I think there's multiple questions that need to be answered with this whole physician recruitment thing. I don't know whether it's even going to continue, whether it's going to dissolve, where the money is, all this kind of stuff.
The current one is dissolved. which is a physician recruitment group made up of the 5 different municipalities. Yes, well, no, because family stepped back, so it's actually moving forward. But, and really, there's the dissolving, and then there's the how the money is split. And that won't be up to the board, I don't think, that'll be up to the members that are innocent representatives. Does that answer some of your questions?
That does.
You want to answer that specific questions? Okay. Clerk's gonna offer some more information.
So through you, Mr. Mayor, we're dealing with 2 separate issues here. So the first issue that the report is based on is the Northumberland County's request for a township representative to their brand new physician recruitment advisory committee that they are establishing. So that's what they've reached out to the lower tiers to ask for that representation. So that's sort of the business on hand, the motion on the floor is whether or not Councillor Booth should be appointed to that as the township's representative at the county level at this new board. The second issue that we've got on the go is the status of the West Northumberland physicians recruitment, which is the one that we are under contract with our 5 neighboring municipalities that have been in existence for the last several years and taking sort of fulfilling that role. So we are dealing with 2 very separate committees and boards here. So the first one is the county asking for municipal representation for the lower tiers. The second issue, which ties into Deputy Mayor Stover and to Councilor Ainsworth, your questions about what is the status of the current board that we have, the West Northumberland. So there's 2 very distinct issues at play here.
Isn't there a date for the time to have all of the case for this?
Yes, so through Mr. Mayor, yeah, it was middle of August for appointment to their advisory.
Yes, and the reason for that is so they can, as Will Calvin says, they want to get it going. They want to get it going, so. Okay, Mike. Also good.
Through your worship, so just speaking on the motion, then just so that you know, when I saw this come up, I did speak to the 2 members that are currently on the committee and say, you know, it would be a good idea that either yourself, Mary Catherine, or the other person who I believe is grid on there would serve on it. Both of them told me they weren't interested in sitting on it. So looking at our options is we either have a councillor sit on it, or Mr. Mayor can sit on it. But if you read the county's thing, you have to be very careful, because if 3 of the mayors sit on it, it would be considered a council thing and they can't have that. So you couldn't have 3 mayors sit on the county committee, if I'm correct, Mr. Mayor. So I'll put my name forward. I still have a few questions that I would like to ask afterwards, and I'm just looking that I believe it should be a councillor, and I'm open to anybody being on there because we're only looking at a year. We have a year left of our term and then that's it. So hopefully the West Northumberland board will be done, and we'll have somebody sit on this one with the county, and it'll just be for a year, and then it'll continue on with something else.
Thank you.
Mayor,
Yes,
what is the commitment here for someone sitting? Are they gonna be meeting every month or quarterly? Do you have that information?
I don't have that information. I would assume it's monthly, but at least initially to get it started off, but I don't know that, sure.
Thank you.
Also answer.
To you, Mayor, so have we paid our installment for the recruitment? I mean, that's for the physician recruitment already?
We haven't paid anything.
Okay,
We paid for the position, Northumberland position improvement, which is money in, I understand there's money in the reserves, and that'll have to be divvied up between the ones that are on the bill. That's what you're asking.
yeah, and will this county driven one be funded by the county, or do we still have to fund that?
Well, the county is money.
Mr. Mayor, just because I know Emily's looking at it too, can we just vote on this one, and then I'd like to talk about that afterwards, because we have to vote on whether we're having a councillor or whatever, and then maybe I'm asking you to call it, yes. Thank you.
So, Mayor, just one question. So we're sure the Northumberland County one is going to continue,
The Northumberland
Yes.
County,
is going to continue.
That's
Yeah.
where it's gonna be.
Okay.
yes. All in favor? The motion is carried. Okay,
Mr. Mayor, could I make a comment then, now that
Yes.
we've decided on that? Thank you, fellow councilors. So I guess, and this is through you, your worship, either to Emily or to maybe Mary Catherine that sits on the committee, after doing a little bit of research. I guess my question would be like Councillor Ainsworth, have we paid the 2025 bill of $10,465 yet to the West Northumberland? And if we haven't, I believe Crammy stopped their payment for this year because they know that that board is going to be dissolved. So they stopped their payment, and I'm wondering if we can do that. And then I believe through further research, there's approximately $120,000 sitting in the account that the 5 municipalities will have to decide how that's divvied up, whether people get their money back or whether whatever, which I'm sure will be discussed. So I guess my question is, have we paid for this year would be my first question. Do we know if we've paid the $10,465 for this year?
well, for me. Yeah. We believe it's been paid, but we can't. We don't know that much yet. Okay, so we're gonna get together and answer it if we can.
Okay, because the important thing would be, I think we should do like Crammy, which is to say, well, then we're not gonna give you the $10,000 for this year. We know that the committee is gonna dissolve, and why arguing with them later to try and get our $10,000 back? It's better not to pay. And then I guess my other question would be, as a member on that committee with the county, is the county is saying that they're paying initially, I think you can clarify this, Mr. Mayor, $20,000 or something to get this committee going and everything. Oh, 220, good.
I believe is the figure.
That's what.
Because my position, as everybody has known for years, has always been, I don't believe that we should be spending any money on the hospital stuff coming from us, because that's a provincial thing. It's the province that should be doing all of this and not. So I'm glad that our 10,000 something dollars is coming back, and hopefully out of the $120,000, we're going to get some more money coming back. And then if the county wants to propose something different, then I would bring it back to everybody to discuss.
Very confident.
I'm not wanting to put words in our clerk's committee, but they are using the Humane Society as a, when that folded and then the new emerged. So there is some history and experience that they're drawing upon. And if we look at what happened in that case, money came back to the municipalities, but it's sitting there in a reserve to be used for that purpose. So while the money could come back to us or whatever happens to it, but it will be for the purpose of primary care providing or recruitment if it comes back here. And so there are some interesting implications for us. And I know that there is interest in the Roseneath area to have some primary care services located there on the part of the OHTN. So, you know, those are things that will happen. The discussions will unfold, but we do have a previous experience that is going to help guide us here.
Go ahead, Deputy Mayor.
Through you, Mayor Vogel. With the discussion you and I had, you had mentioned something that the county had already been involved in this before of some kind. Could you explain that?
Historically, okay, I'm gonna try to remember. Historically, each municipality was contributing anywhere from $25,000 to $50,000 for the hospital as a donation to the hospital. About 5 years ago, or 4 years ago, or 3 years ago, somewhere or another, not everybody was contributing, so they said, okay, the county will make that contribution. And that the individual municipalities quit paying the $30,000 or $40,000 that they had. You remember how much we were putting in there at one time? So in 2025, county council decided that they could no longer afford to continue to put money into Northumberland County, as well as the hospital in Campbell. But it ended up being that they canceled the one in the NHH and continued a small contribution to Campbell. So that 250,000 or whatever was somewhere in that neighborhood was not paid. And it's my understanding that that was used to help physician recruitment throughout the county, particularly in the Port Hope area with the medical office.
So again, Mayor Lobo, is it thought of this committee that it started through the county that it would all be streamlined into this? Is this what their goal is?
Yes.
Okay,
Excluding the physician improvement, apart in West Northumberland, physician improvement.
no,
And very confident you can help me in this, but I believe it's the other three are involved, including the hospital and.
Dogs by the Bay from Brighton, and then there is from Trent Hills, where their recruitment was for both primary care in the community and at the hospital.
so it will.
So it's
be running
four
through that now.
agencies. Yeah, 4 agencies becoming one.
So Mayor Lobo, I'd like to put a motion on the floor that we get a clear picture of where, what money, what finances are there. And that, Madam Clerk, are you suggesting that the town of Cobourg would be the agency or the, office that we would get that information? And just what is, just so it is, a document that we could look at to move forward with this.
You want to comment? Madam Clerk, you've been involved with this. From that point, I'm wondering if we should go, my opinion, I'm wondering if we should go to we shouldn't be sending this to the chair of the Northumberland Physician Improvement.
Is that where we should be going?
That's the way I,
Okay,
okay, you're okay with that?
Yep.
You okay with that, Councilor Booth?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, go ahead, Councilor.
I just think making a comment on what the deputy mayor said, and I could be wrong through your worship to Mary Catherine, is the West Northumberland Physicians Committee that you're on, they're still meeting to discuss money and what they're gonna do, and then obviously they make a recommendation to the 4 or 5 councils to dissolve. That still has to happen, right?
If I may.
Yes,
Yes, that's right. So we are doing a little bit of a dance here, and we don't want to get our one foot in front of the other and trip ourselves in it. So I'm not sure, other than perhaps if you want to make a motion about not paying and formally establish that if it hasn't been paid for this year, we could probably move forward with that one today, but I would prefer that is a board. Have to respect that boards have their own agency and they do what they do. And that's where it sits, is for this formal recommendation. It wasn't our strategic plan that once the other was established, we would wind down. So we know that's the direction. Now we formalize that into a recommendation, then it comes back to the 5-member municipalities. And that's when we would make our formal motion. I respect your thing for information, and I will say that I think it's appropriate that if I hear anything about when that meeting is, that I will forward that to all of the members of council right away, so that you're all kept up to speed as fast as I'm kept up to speed on it. Whether or not we want to send anything,
Mayor Lobo, I would like it formalized. And I would like
to ask
to,
a question.
yeah, sure.
Is there a meeting?
we do not have a meeting scheduled. And, you know, it is up to the chair, but I suppose the other would be the majority of the board members could also request that meeting. So we will get a meeting scheduled, and as soon as it's scheduled, I will let you know.
So Mayor Lobo, this gets back to my motion. I would just like a motion and like it be a little more formalized, sent to the chair. Just a status of where they are, the funds that are there. Although we put $10,000 in a year, a bigger community would put more, so I'm sure it would be prorated to the size of the community. And it just a few, just a status update. And just so we have something solid that we could look at on their projections, mostly a motion on their projections and the finances and when they hope to have a final date for the wrap up.
Go ahead, Mr. Clerk, I see your hands. You can open that.
So through you, Mr. Mayor, to address the previous question as to whether or not we've paid for 2025, we have paid. It was issued to end of March of 2025, so we have paid for this year. In regards to the motion, what I'm hearing is that staff be directed to request the West Northumberland Physician Recruitment and Retention Board Chair to provide to council a report on the future of the board, including a formal board resolution requesting to dissolve if applicable, and a financial report including current year operating reserve amounts.
And I would also add timelines and what their expectations are for the dissolving of this board.
So I have including a formal board resolution requesting to dissolve and timelines.
Yes.
Okay, can you read that motion? And I probably that should be prepared for you and sent to me, I would think. What do you think? Okay. Go ahead,
Can
Councilor.
I just add, so clarification, that's gonna go,
To the chair.
Through the chair.
of the West Northumberland. Okay, yeah.
Yep, please read it.
So through you, Mr. Mayor, the motion proposed by Deputy Mayor Stolberg is that staff be directed to request the West Northumberland Physician Recruitment and Retention Board Chair provide to council a report on the future of the board, including a formal board resolution requesting to dissolve and timelines, if applicable, and a financial report including current year operating and reserve amounts.
Thank you.
So it's moved by Deputy Mayor Stolberg, seconded by Councilor Ruth. Any further discussion? Go ahead, Councilor Neal.
Just a very minor thing, I would recommend that staff request CC the members of council on it so that if the response is received, we'll all receive it.
Can you come forward, Council? All in favor? That's carried.
Thank you.
Moving along to 12.3, Finance Department Review and Interim Treasurer Assistance, RFP Award. Well, pardon me, I'm sorry, we're going on to 12.2, which is CLK 2025-14-2025 Municipal Ice Storm Assistance Program. The report's fairly straightforward. I'm going to read the resolution. You can move in a second. That the Council of the Corporation of the Township of Elmacole formally request assistance from the province of Ontario through the Municipal Ice Storm Assistance MISA program for incremental costs incurred during the March 2025 ice storm. Can I get a move in a second? Moved by Deputy Mayor Stolberg, seconded by Councilor Ainsworth. Any discussion? Go ahead, Councilor O'Neill.
There's going to be a bit of a cost benefit on this in terms of the research, and it says that they're not available yet, the costs when that might be eligible. Do you have a timeline on when those costs might be available?
Who's
I would think it would be the treasurer, but she's not here, so I guess the CAO.
Sorry, through you, Mayor. I'm a bit confused. I think the report is to bring this information to council to identify that there is an assistance program available. And if council agrees that we can go after the assistance, that we would put together the information that we have on hand and then apply for the assistance through the province.
That's basically what it is. Letting council know staff is going to prepare this. Correct. With their approval.
Yeah, mine is just a little bit, if it turns out that things aren't eligible that are considered then just regular costs. At some point, the staff time in making an application, would there be any point when you say, okay, this isn't enough to be worthwhile for the application. It's sort of where I'm going on it.
Go ahead.
Through your Mayor, yeah, we would. Yeah.
That was sort of my question, and when that might be.
Well, just a quick comment, there's an awful lot of people that were involved in different things. Public Works, the fire people, they were here opening up different centers for showers and stuff, and other type thing. I don't know how many hours it was, but it was, and I'm not even sure if all of them, we're ahead of most, or some municipalities, but there's a lot of municipalities that are still trying to clear up the wood, et cetera, trees that are falling. Yeah, we'd have to go move and check. All in favor? Motion's carried. Now we'll go on to 12-13. Finance Department review and interim treasurer assistance RFP award. CAO 2025-20 Finance Department review and interim treasurer assistance RFP award for July the 8th, 2025. Go ahead, Dave. Do you have any comments?
I don't have any further comments other than, we have brought this to council before. We went for the RFP and this is the information finding to bring back to council for approval.
Okay. It is recommended the council of the corporation of the township of Alvin, Colden, and act as follows. That council receive report CAO 2025-20 Finance Department review and interim treasury assistance RFP award for information, and the staff be authorized to award tender RFP 032025 Finance Department review and interim treasurer assistance to MNP at a value of 88,000 plus HST, and that a bylaw be brought forward for council consideration to authorize the mayor and clerk to execute an agreement with NNP for financial department review and interim treasurer assistance. I can move in second. Moved by Councilor Booth, second by Deputy Mayor Stoller. Go ahead. Do you have any comments, Councilor Booth?
No, not that. I'll wait until I hear everybody speak.
Go ahead, Deputy Mayor.
To you, Mayor Vogel, to Dave, when do you expect this to be in place? I thought I read it through the report, but then I didn't see it there.
Through your Mayor Lobo, the timeline identified in the scope of the project from NNP is to engage and start the process in July and to be completed by the end of October.
Oh,
Which does align with our goals to have the review completed. Any identifications of needs for 2026 and 26 budget, and also to be ready to vote for a new treasurer in December, so that we can try to have a new treasurer for the start of 2026.
thank you.
I have a couple of questions. How much of the budget is for assistance? Do you have a figure for that, Dave?
The assistance was identified as an as-needed basis, but to be included in there. So the breakdown, I believe, was in around the $20,000.
That was the 88, okay. And I'm wondering if MNP would give us, this is gonna perfect goal, but I'm not sure if that's all necessary. Presentation to council when we start, so we know what we're going to expect. Written report halfway through the project and final report.
So they remain malleable for conversations. We can have that conversation with them. Just please keep in mind that if you're asking for anything that's outside of the scope of the project that they have identified, that there will be additional costs, but we could identify that to you.
But they will be making a final report.
Absolutely making a final report.
Mary Coffey?
So I read this with interest, and you know that I'm very concerned that we have not had a treasurer. I mean, we've had a treasurer, but we don't have a specialized, fully dedicated treasurer. And that would be my goal. We need somebody sitting next to our two directors who were here today, going through in preparation, what are our 10-year projections? We need to get that done for our asset management plan, but we just need to get it done because that's good practice. What are we doing about our facilities moving forward. What are we doing about our roads, our culverts, our bridges, that 10-year plan? And I had anticipated that the people who were going to respond to this would be companies that are specifically aimed at municipalities. And instead, from what I'm reading, and I did some interesting reading and looked all through MNP's website to learn more, we received responses from accounting firms. And accounting support is great, but a municipal treasurer does more than just our accounting. A municipal treasurer prepares our budget and prepares our budget for the upcoming year and helps us do that process of looking forward into the future. And we've already missed our July 1st deadline. Now, I hope that we're going to see this, but is that in there? Is this company going to help us get that 10-year projection done? And nowhere in their website did I see anything about them working with municipalities. I saw that they worked with not-for-profits and small businesses and farms and those types of things, but I did not see that they were working with municipalities. So we've got that, those projections moving forward, and also for our budget preparation for this year, what role do you foresee them playing? So 10 years and this 2026 budget, where are we?
Dave, do you have a comment?
No, sir.
I'm sorry, Deputy Mayor Stewart?
Just a comment, Mayor Lobo, on the question that you posed to Dave. As this process goes on, and I believe we won't be meeting in August, but is it possible to have reports or just an update as the summer goes on? Because you were wanting them to come to council, but I'm just wondering how the information could easily get through to us, just that we would read it and not comment.
That's what I asked for, suggested that we get a written report out, which would find out what's going on.
So that may be in September then.
Yeah,
Thank you.
I missed it. When did you say you would start?
In July.
In July, okay. Go ahead, Councilor Booth.
Through you, your worship, I agree with getting some kind of report, but maybe it might be good that the company just discusses it with Dave, and the CAO can come back to us. That way we're not getting charged for that. I guess the one thing I do like here, and I guess reading through it, I just want to totally understand, this is for a department review and also for treasurer assistance. So if our current treasurer has questions or needs assistance or things like that, that's what I'm understanding, Dave, 20% or roughly whatever some of that money is allocated for them to assist the treasurer, right? Because she's quite busy with negotiations and everything else. And I agree with what Councillor O'Neill's saying. I mean, ideally, we would love to have a full-time treasurer. We're going to be going on almost 2 years now or whatever, but I think once we get this done and some assistance for Aaron, that hopefully in December we can be ready to post for a treasurer and look to get somebody full-time in there.
Yes.
If I may. Second, please. So for clarity, it is 20,000 that was identified for interim treasurer support and knowledge transfer. Part of the reason for choosing an NMP is because of their identified working environment, experiences in various entities, financial audit, advisory, and compliance services, specifically for asset retirement obligations, financial instruments, new standards implementation for municipalities, County of Bruce, County of Bray, County of Dufferin, City of Owen Sound, Municipality of Erin, Elderslie, Municipality of Grey Highlands, Municipality of Meaford, Municipality of Northern Bruce Peninsula, Town of Saugeen Shores, Township of Chatsworth, Town of South Bruce Peninsula, Township of Georgina Bluffs, Township of North Dumfries. And also working on compliance and reviews and various programs for County of Bruce, Grey, Dufferin, and Old Sound, and also with HST audits offering sound advice, County of Bruce, Grey, Municipality of Northern Bruce Peninsula, Municipality of Northern Bruce Peninsula, Municipality of Meaford. And then financial information returns for several of them as well. So as part of the review criteria, it was understanding their municipal experience and part of the reason why staff.
Thank you for that. That's great. They have that.
Thank you for that. I also agree that didn't help because that wasn't readily available. So which office then is that person or that team that you're referencing? Which office are they working out of, by the way? Because I went into Lindsay and Peterborough and Oshawa, but I didn't open their Kingston one, and it sounds like it might be their Kingston one.
There's definitely on sound.
That would be
Because there's 2 or 3 municipalities
Yeah,
in that town as well. So,
I think that, I would
answer
feel.
your question?
I just want to make the final comment that I think it's important that we definitely work with the office that has done this, because not every office is doing municipal, because I did go into Peterborough and Lindsay, and neither of them were doing it.
It's, the proposal is from the Toronto office, and the specific division is their public sector, lead of Eastern Canada.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That does make sense.
Councilor Ainsworth.
To you, Mayor, I guess the question for me would be, because we're looking for a treasurer and we're gonna sign this agreement with this group, what happens if we find a treasurer in the meantime? How do we get out of this contract?
I don't think we could get a contract, and we're not looking for a treasurer right now.
Yeah, but
We'd
something,
love to get one, but,
Yeah.
I think we approved this in the budget to do exactly what Dave's proposing, and the thought of hiring someone new for 2026, the beginning of 2026.
so I guess I'm just wondering about the hourly rate. If it's been kind of juggled to see which would work the best for us. If it was to come out to the same amount, or maybe they would charge more for an hourly rate. I don't know. It's just a question. And then we wouldn't have to break a contract if out of the blue, someone said, hey, I was reading a post. I'd like to apply for that job.
Go ahead.
Through your Mayor Lobo, so Councilor Ainsworth, there's specific requirements and details as to why we have come forward and suggested the review of the department. For a new person to come in and learn the history of where things have been over the last many years. Thankfully that Erin has worked for the municipality for a while, so she knows and can answer the question on who's on first, who's on second. The idea of the review is so that we can have a documented and a well-documented process and the identification of what we need to do to clean up our financial affairs and our practices, so that number one, we ensure that they're efficient. Number two, we have the best use of staff and their time to those that we do have and what we do need, and also to identify what the treasurer needs to do for the municipality. So we need to ensure that we have checked our boxes with legal requirements. Councillor O'Neill has brought up some very good points continuously to do with infrastructure and asset retirement obligations, etc. So the project in the review is to identify the key recommendations that we need to follow to clean up the finance department, and so that it's in good shape for somebody coming in, because then it will require less time to learn what it is that we need, because that document will be created and we're able to give it and provide it. So we have to allow for the time to do the review and understand everything that we don't know, because the most important part about a review for any department, in my opinion, is answering the question, what don't I know? So then we will be into good shape for hiring a treasurer. The other thing that we will need to identify as well is that, and this will definitely involve council, is we have a pay grid. And in that pay grid identifies the role of the treasurer. We are 100% completely non-competitive in the market today, trying to hire a treasurer at that cost. So we need to identify and learn that information as well. And we need to bring it to council because council needs to make that decision. So bringing forward updated reports as to how are things going with the project, et cetera, as well within the purview of what the CEO should be doing anyway, whether it's myself or anybody else in the position, and keep council up to date as to things are. We also don't know what we're going to bring you because there are things that we don't know. And what we don't know, we're going to need to bring to council because there may be even more important decisions that need to get made. We don't know that right now. Right?
Okay, thank you.
If I could make a comment too, I expect some of the person that's coming in to assist will all be needing to train the lorries and the guys because they're gonna be, it's gonna be the work that they're doing that has to, I expect that we haven't been doing, and that's gonna be their responsibility. Take out some of those chores and find out what we need to do and what we don't need to do. Councilor O'Neill.
So I'm hearing things that I like hearing, the operations audit focus on this. So I've got a couple of real logistical questions that go with that then, and they're both related to our asset management plan. With that 20,000 where we're getting sort of treasurer support, would that include sitting with the managers to work on the asset management plan and then sitting with council to do our service level review that we were directed to do in the first stage of the AMP as our responsibility?
That's, through your mayor, that's not identified in the scope of the project.
Okay, go ahead.
So can it be, or is there something else? Because that does need to get done this year, those two pieces. So if it's not there, it needs to be somewhere.
I think we're working on it,
We can certainly have the conversation.
but we are working with asset management on a regular basis.
Yes.
Daily basis. To get it through. Okay. All right. So we have a mover and a seconder. All in favor? Motion's carried. Moving on to bylaws. And the first one, bylaw number 532025, appointed deputy clerk. Is recommend the council of the township of Eldon Calderman enact as follows: that bylaw 532025 being a bylaw to appoint a deputy clerk be given the first, second, and third reading and finally pass this 8th day of July, excuse me, 2025. Do I get a move in a second? Moved by Deputy Mayor Stolber. Seconded by Councilor Booth. Any questions? Go ahead.
When do we get to meet our employee?
Clerk, Madam Clerk, can you give us some information?
Certainly, Mr. Mayor. So through Mayor Vogel, yes, our new deputy clerk, Cassidy Sweet, is scheduled to start work July 21st. And very excited to have her come on board, and she's going to bring a wealth of energy and knowledge to the township, and looking forward to work.
Did you say your name? Cassidy? Cassidy. Okay. And she's had experience? You're it? Say yes. Yes. I hear, like.
She's all.
Okay. All in favor? That's carried. Bylaw number 542025 to execute an agreement with PSD citywide. I just recommend the council of the township of Allen Cullen act as follows: that bylaw 542025 being the bylaw to execute an agreement with PSD citywide Inc. for the supply and implementation of a permit application and inspection management software be given the first, second, and third reading and finally pass this 8th day of July 2025. Moving to seconder. Moved by Councilor O'Neill, seconded by Councilor Ainsworth. Any comments? All in favor? Motion carried. Next is bylaw 55-2025, to execute an agreement with Montreal Chevrolet Buick GM Cadillac Limited. It is recommended the Council of Corporation of the Township of Allen enact as follows. That bylaw number 55-2025 being a bylaw to execute an agreement with Montreal Chevrolet Buick GMC Cadillac Limited for the supply of a one-ton replacement truck, given first, second, and third reading and finally passed this 8th day of July 2025. Moved and seconded, moved by Councillor Booth, seconded by Councillor O'Neill. Any discussion? Go ahead, Councillor Ainsworth.
Just a question, where would we be if we didn't purchase this truck?
Where would we be if we didn't purchase this truck? From what I understand from the gentleman there, they need this truck to replace the truck that's going out of lost its life, and that's the truck they use to plow the all the different facilities. And some of the roads as well, to my understanding. Does that answer your question?
Well, I guess, do we have a backup if we couldn't afford to purchase this truck? I guess I'm just looking at the point that we have lots of things in the township that need attention. And I just don't know at this time it's a new truck priority.
Thank you. Dave, do you want to go?
I can, yeah. So the, Councilor Ainsworth, this truck is, purchased out of the procurement plan that the council has already approved. So it isn't money that's outside of that. We're following the plan that we brought to council and staying within the budget of doing so. So the vehicle that it's replacing, plows, a lot of the community center buildings, in the north. It plows, the Roseneath Fire Hall and EMS base. It looks after a lot of sanding and salting at the same locations. And it's used in the summer as well by the work crews, in Roseneath, because that's where, this truck will be going. So we've just been staying within the already plans that we brought to council. We haven't gone outside of any of that, so it's not a special request or anything. And the vehicle that it's replacing is well past its life. It has been, it's in the process of being sold and it's not running. It's in as-is condition. So we used it until I believe we replaced the transmission, replaced the exhaust systems, wiring harnesses. We worked it to the point where we needed to replace it.
As I recall, back in 2016, prior to that, we were doing all of those facilities by hiring out someone else to do it. And there was an opportunity to buy 2 trucks at the time. That was a good price, and I believe they were actually a couple of 6 months old or something like that, or maybe 2 months old. And the guy didn't need them anymore, so that's how they got it. And when you asked a question earlier, somebody asked about the diesel. Well, it should have been diesel in the first place, but these were a good price, so that's why they were bought. And I guess I'd like to make one other comment, although I don't normally recommend staying, or don't recommend necessarily staying within the county to buy or purchase something. The fact that this is within the township is good for what they call focus program. And the fact that we got some extra goodies just makes it that one good thing for me. So that's my comment. Anybody else have any comments? Go ahead, Mike.
Just to continue, I guess I'm just looking at the different areas where we need to look at, the municipal office, our community centers, our boat launches and stuff like this. And we've probably already spent over budget on public works with things that are going on. And I just wonder at this time if that's feasible to keep doing.
I gave you the comment on where the board was it? Southern Works?
I guess I'm just looking at the negotiations part of it.
Negotiations.
That's an added cost that we didn't expect.
It was.
Good point. Go ahead.
Thank you.
I guess just to make a comment, I understand what you're saying, Councillor Ainsworth, but I think that'll be more of a budget thing coming up for next budget, right? Where we can actually take a look at exactly what, because as Dave said, we've already approved all of this, and then for us to come back and say, well, we're gonna cut this or that is not really fair. But I guess leading on to the question, which is a good point, is do we have any idea through the CAO when we will be starting the 2026 budget process of discussing with council what we're looking at and everything, since this is our last budget that this council will be looking at? We'd be starting in the fall early, or?
Go ahead, Dave.
To your mayor logo, so if I have my way, it'll be earlier. I would anticipate that by the end of our finance department review, that we should be in reasonable condition in October to at least start the preliminary, or at least show a draft, and have an idea where we're going, but it's going to depend on staff availability and time, and depending on how intrusive the review is, and then of course there's always the unknown. So we're going to try, absolutely, for sure. As far as the Public Works Department being over budget, our operation and capital budgets are not over that I'm aware of at this time, and we have just gone through a review with each individual department head. I do believe that so far we're on track with everything. I understand your concerns with the negotiations, but we're also taking steps to understand, learn, and manage that in a little bit different light.
Very good.
Well, just following up on both of your comments, so I mean, we are halfway through the year, so I'm assuming we will get a Q2 coming to us soon with the variances, so that you can be reassured that we are within budget, or if we're not within budget, to fix that. And then to your point, Councillor Booth, I do think that's an important step that we're going to have to make as a council, is to decide what are our sort of, here's the frame for the budget discussion, so sooner rather than later on that.
We're getting way off. But I appreciate your comments. All in favor? Motion's carried. Next, we have bylaw 562025 to execute an agreement with Apex Pavement Markings. Is recommended the Council of the Corporation of Township of Alberta act as follows: that bylaw 562025 being the bylaw to execution of the agreement with Apex Pavement Markings Incorporated for 2025 line painting be given a first, second, and third reading, and finally pass this 8th day of July 2025. Moved by Councilor Booth, second by Deputy Mayor Stover. Any comments? If we have them already, all in favor? Motion's carried. Bylaw number 57. Bylaw 57, amend bylaw 782024, which is not going to be discussed because that's been deferred. Next, we have bylaw number 582025, execute an agreement with MNP to is recommended the Council of the Corporation of Township of Alnwick and act as follows: that bylaw 582025 being the bylaw to execute an agreement with MNP for a financial department review and interim treasurer assistance, given a first, second, and third reading, and finally pass this 8th day of July 2025. Move and second. Moved by Deputy Mayor Stover. We got a second by Councilor Booth. All in favor? Conclude the discussion. All in favor? That's carried. Communications, there was three sets of information that was provided by the clerk, and there was three of them asked to be pulled. So I'll take them as all together. Township of McGarry, Canada, and Township of McGarry, Canadian and U.S. United States relations. Second one is Bradford West Willoughby, advocate for increased income support threshold for Canada veterans, and the municipal Ministry of Rural Affairs regarding rural Ontario development. Can I get a mover and seconder? And if you want to pull any windows, just let me know now. Moved by Deputy Mayor Stover, seconded by Councillor Booth. All in favor? Motion's carried. Announcements and notices of motion. We're just gonna make sure that everybody's aware. We're not discussing this today. So there's two notions of motion. One for regarding council remuneration for committees, and that was submitted by Councillor O'Neill. And the next one is for notice of motion for the official plan amendment, secondary plan for the hamlet of Grafton. And that was also submitted by Councillor O'Neill, and these will be discussed probably at the next council. Committee council. Closed session, there is no closed session today. Confirmatory bylaw 592025. Conformity bylaw 592025. That being that bylaw 592025 being a bylaw to adopt the proceedings of the regular council meeting held on July 8, 2025, and to authorize its execution, given the first, second, and third reading, and finally pass this 8th day of July 2025. Moving to second. Moved by Councillor Ainsworth, second by Councillor Booth. Discussion, all in favor? Motion carried. Motion to adjourn that the regular council meeting of July 8, 2025 be adjourned at 11:10 a.m. Moving to second. Moved by Councillor Booth, seconded by Councillor Ainsworth. All in favor? Motion's carried. Thank you, everyone. Have a safe day.